All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. Tonight, we're going to be talking about the Pittsburgh Steelers. They are coming off a Week 2 victory at home Monday Night Football, 26-22 against the Cleveland Browns. Now, it wasn't sexy. It wasn't pretty. The defense was absolutely monstrous. I mean, they were monstrous. But the Steelers entered the fourth quarter trailing the Browns 22-19. They gained -7 total yards in the fourth quarter and won the football game. That is the fewest yards gained in the fourth quarter by a team that overcame a fourth quarter deficit to win in this century. It's crazy. I mean, it really is crazy. Yes, they had 2 defensive touchdowns. Yes, the Pittsburgh Steelers defense tonight looked like elite level defense that we know they are. But this is a team that has 2 offensive touchdowns in 2 games. They are averaging 4.8 yards per play. Somehow, that's not the worst in the league, but it is the second worst in the league. Here's the worst statistic you will hear all week if you are a Steelers fan. The Pittsburgh Steelers are the only team in the National Football League without a first down in the first quarter. How on earth is that possible? I have a competent quarterback in Kenny Pickett. At the very least, he's competent. I have a 2-headed monster at running back who are both healthy, Najee Harris and Jaylen Warren. I have George Pickens, Pat Freiermuth. I have a fine offensive line. We'll talk about the offensive line and their woes a little bit later on in the video. I know they were missing DJ last night, but still, no first downs in the first quarter. I mean, it is crazy. Now, I'm not all that alarmed. I'm not all that concerned because the offensive line is the longest positional group that takes time to click. So I anticipate it won't be probably for at least 2 more weeks when we're going to see Pittsburgh's offensive line not at full force, but kind of just in the swing of things, right? Here's the thing. Matt Canada's offense is way too predictable. And unless things change, the Pittsburgh Steelers will see very limited success deep into the season and potentially into the playoffs. We're looking at this team and their defense is that freaking good. I mean, they won the game last night, but we're going to talk about it in tonight's video. But before we do, if you guys enjoy it, be sure to hit that like button, hit that sub button for daily NFL content. I do post a couple of Steelers videos every single week. Steelers fans, if we could try and get this video to 500 likes, that would mean the absolute world to me. So yeah, I mean, you heard it. You heard everybody, ESPN, Fox Sports, everybody was just ragging Matt Canada yesterday and today. With that being said, there's no pop. It's just way too predictable, all right? I know things are going to take time, and we knew things were going to take time before it started, right? The Pittsburgh Steelers, they won 4 straight games last year with Kenny Pickett closing out the season, but still, a lot of it was close fourth quarter comebacks. We'd still, we wanted to see that pop, that zip with Kenny Pickett in year 2. I was listening to the radio today, and I can't remember the guy's name, the former offensive lineman, and he was comparing the offensive line to the spine. If you want great offensive line play, it comes down to a couple of things. The players and the personnel that you have, the scheme, but most importantly, your play calling, all right? And the example he used was, I want you to build me a deck, all right? But I'm not going to give you a saw. I'm not going to give you nails. I'm not even going to give you a leveler. I'm just going to give you a hammer. Now, if you have any history in construction or just basic, does that make sense logic? No, it doesn't. How am I going to build you a deck with just a hammer? So that's kind of what I'm looking at right now with the Pittsburgh Steelers as Matt Canada as your play caller. Now, we were concerned about this heading into it. Steelers fans were a lot more concerned than I was being a Packers fan. I now see what you guys are talking about. I mean, the amount of 3 and outs is abysmal. And like I said, I'm going to keep hammering this to the point where it's going to be annoying because this is the worst statistic I've ever heard, at least in recent memory. How do you have no first downs in the first quarter? We're 2 games in and you have no first downs. I mean, that is embarrassingly bad. It's crazy. I went back and I did some research going back to, why is Matt Canada still the offensive coordinator for Pittsburgh? They've regressed offensively in every category from last season. Then it kind of goes back to Big Ben, wanting non-change with the OC. So it's just a weird situation. I don't know if they're going to fire him. I'm not concerned quite yet because Pittsburgh has a couple of intriguing games coming up here. On the road, what is it? Sunday Night Football against the Las Vegas Raiders. I was just on Twitter. If I'm not mistaken, the Raiders, I think it might just be DraftKings. They were favored to win that football game. But then after that, you play Houston. These are two must-win games, and I need to see 30 points on the board. I need to see a double digit, and it's crazy that I got to ask for this. I need to see a 2-touchdown offensive game in both of them, if we're being quite blunt here. As far as Matt Canada actually being fired, I don't see that happening this season. I don't see it happening mid-season unless the Steelers were to lose like their next 3 games and the offensive woes still happen. Now, some things that are going to help is just more time and more reps within your offensive line, all right? They need to get their timing down. They need to get the communication down. It's all of the little things. And we talk about this on this channel all the time to the point where it's probably annoying. It's going to take, and you look across the league right now, a lot of teams are struggling with it. It's just going to take the Pittsburgh Steelers offensive line a little bit of time. And Matt Canada is going to be a huge reason for, how successful is the offensive line going to be. But I'm not concerned with Kenny Pickett. I'm not concerned with the offensive line. I have some concerns with Matt Canada, but I'll give him one more benefit of the doubt here. One thing I want to see moving forward is just Jaylen Warren. I just want to see Jaylen Warren play more. I don't know if Najee Harris is banged up right now. I don't know if he has an injury that he's not telling anybody about. It looks like he's lost that pop. It looks like he's lost that zip. However, we're only 2 games into the season, and his stats aren't that bad. Only 10 carries for 43 yards for Najee Harris last night. Jaylen Warren, only 6 rushes, only 20 yards, but where we really saw him make an impact was in the receiving game. Now, obviously, they were without Deontay Johnson, wide receiver 1 last night, so we saw George Pickens career it. 4 catches, 127 yards, and a touchdown. Could have been an even crazier game or statistical game for George Pickens as he was targeted 10 times, but as we know, that execution within the Steelers offense right now isn't perfect. It's not great. It's actually not good at all, and it's not even average. But Jaylen Warren, 4 catches, 66 yards, including that long for a 30. We talked about it all summer. Najee Harris, Jaylen Warren, not only are they a 1-2 punch duo in the running game, but they're a 1-2 punch duo in the receiving game, all right? I want to see a little bit more Allen Robinson as well. We have yet to see really any Allen Robinson. Only 2 catches for 12 yards last night. 1 catch, 10 yards for Calvin Austin the third. But once again, I kind of have to take all of this with a grain of salt because, as we mentioned, they're averaging 4.8 yards per play. They have no first downs in the first quarter, and they have 2 offensive touchdowns in the first 2 games. Now, I will say the San Francisco 49ers are one of the best teams in the National Football League, and Cleveland's roster on paper is loaded. They have a loaded roster. So these next 2 games are very important because Pittsburgh's got to win it. You got to take down Vegas. You got to take down Houston, and I anticipate it to happen. I don't even need it to be all that pretty. I don't need it to be sexy, but I need to see some flashes of it offensively. Defensively, I mean, they had 6 total sacks. They had double-digit quarterback hits. The defense is perfect. It's literally perfect, and it won them the football game, all right? That's it for tonight. If you guys enjoyed it, be sure to hit that like button, hit that sub button. But, guys, give me some comments on the Steelers offense. I know it's not going to be great. It's not going to be pretty, but let me know what you're thinking about the Steelers offense down below.